even though I'm still a theist, I do really appreciate what you guys do. I mean, the show is great. And so you really give me a lot to think about, and I appreciate that.
But we're trying for
as you can see, thanks. Like I told the call screener, I called in the Atheist Experience a couple weeks ago when I was going through a pretty rough time. And I just kind of want, a second and, I guess, third and fourth opinion here. I basically, something happened to someone I deeply care about, and I don't really want to go into detail to respect privacy.
Okay.
It was on the news, so if I say too much, people could find out, so.
Okay.
But
if they're in trouble or injured, I hope that they get better and that it's not too bad, but I understand your wish to respect their privacy.
Yeah. And so basically, I didn't want to talk to family and friends about it. I wanted to, so I hadn't been to church in about, 8 weeks. And then I called my pastor and I said, Pastor, I have to talk to someone. I don't want to talk to family and friends. I just need to talk to someone. Can I go to service tomorrow and talk to you after church? He's like, absolutely, no problem. So I did. And I'm getting to a point here. But I did. And after service, we talked about 45 minutes. We talked through it. And then he said, let's pray. So we prayed. And then what was really nice, I thought, is he said, Nick, I want you to know that, I'm not saying, where have you been? I'm saying welcome home. So, and this is someone who, even though he gets paid to be a pastor, he'd still get paid if he helped me or not. But, he honestly does give a crap about me,
Yeah. That's good. It's always good, whatever your beliefs, to have someone that you can talk to and to know that you have a community.
Yeah. And since then, things have gotten better for both my friend, and me personally in my life, because I actually put some things on hold to help her out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But things have gotten better. And basically, I mean, I know you were talking before about, the damage that, religion has done in the past, and it has. Don't get me wrong, it has, depending on who does it. But, on the other hand, there are good religious people out there, and this really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
So I, like I said, I hear all the arguments that on your shows, and I am on the fence about whether or not I truly believe, but this just helped me. It's good for me right now, So, yeah.
When you say this is helping, do you mean like praying and attending church, or do you mean talking with a pastor?
Talking with a pastor, praying, attending church, just being around people who understand and
engaging in the religious
who are just there, basically, And I have atheist friends too, and they've been helpful too. Basically, I'm just not ready to pull the trigger, if you know what I mean. Because this has been so helpful.
Yeah, I kind of know exactly what you mean, actually. Actually, I haven't asked you on the show about your deconversion sort of story or the way that you came out, Shelley, and I don't know whether that would be something you think would be helpful now. But
not necessarily. I mean, just thinking about what you said, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll talk about that later. Thanks.
Yeah.
I think, it's got to be up to you if you want to pull that trigger, as you say. If and when. And I think, I'm so happy for you that you have a community and people in your life that support you and make you feel better. Mm-hmm. And I think, we know that, especially here, the Atheist Community of Austin, it's so much about community and support. And I don't know if you heard before, Jamie just sent a shout out to Caitlin Smart, who is, just had surgery and is watching this show from recovery. And I think,
hi, Caitlin.
it means so much to have people that care about you, regardless of their beliefs. And I don't think it necessarily, affects whether your beliefs about the religion are true or not. I think that's a separate discussion from whether you feel supported and happy and what you're doing with your life is improving your life. So, that's up to you. And I think those things are separate. I mean, I was brought up in the Jewish faith and, my family still attends synagogue every week, and I personally have pulled that trigger, and I find it difficult to go for a myriad of reasons. One is I can't sit with my I have to sit separately because I'm a woman, so that's my line. But I know I still have conversations with my family rabbi, and we sit and we have long conversations about stuff. And I think he's a really great person, and I think he puts out more good in the world than bad. And I see the things that he does for. I mean, I guess it's hard for me to really measure. But that's my that's my feeling. And so the fact that I am not part of the community anymore, or the fact that I don't believe what he believes, doesn't affect my ability to recognize that what he does is positive and that community is positive. So I think even if I probably shouldn't say, but I know people that go to my synagogue and don't believe anymore at all, but that community means so much to them, that support means so much to them, and they still participate, but they don't believe. So it's really, up to you and how you're feeling. And I don't think you should limit the support and love in your life in any way if you don't want to and you're not ready to.
Whether or not you believe there's a God, I don't think that you should cut anyone out of your life because they believe something different than you.
Absolutely.
Again,
I never would do that.
If there's anything that I can say on this show, it's that humans are more important than what you believe. Like how we care for each other and get along and form communities. The C for community is at the center of our name, and it's at the center of everything we do at the Atheist Community of Austin. What I will say is that it's one of the more, important things I want to touch on that Shelley said was that you can separate whether or not you believe and are struggling with that with whether or not you engage in the community. If you enjoy going to church and talking to your pastor, or singing hymns, or trying to have the best cookies at the church bake sale, one of the things I remember most about church is how much time, effort, and love people put into the baked goods that they had.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, sugar is sweet whether you believe or not.
That's right.
Then you should do those things if you enjoy doing those things. But I also think that you should be honest with yourself and not let whether or not you enjoy engaging with the religious community influence whether or not you can be honest with yourself about what you believe.
And I understand that. And I mean, I guess, I know you have other callers. I don't want to take too long, but I guess I'll finish it on, basically how, this church helped me. And I understand all the logical arguments that you guys make on this show and the other shows. And I understand that. And that's why I like listening to it. And I understand that, faith is not logic, it's faith. On the other hand, you can always be comfortable saying, I don't know.
Yes.
So I don't know right now. So I'm still on the journey. I'll learn, but we'll see. But I just like where I am right now, and it helped me through a rough time.
Okay. Can you elaborate on what you mean by where you are right now? Because I vaguely remember talking with you before.
I've never talked to you, actually.
Oh. Hey.
No. Actually,
you
no.
Called into the show.
Were you on with Matt?
No, I must just be remembering watching the show. Human memory is super great.
Okay.
But you sound familiar to me. Maybe it's that I've taken these calls before. But
okay.
Can you elaborate on where you are now?
In terms of I had a lot of plans, and they all kind of just went to hell. But I'm.
Sorry, you said you have a lot of clients?
Plans.
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 I thought you said
plans.
I had a lot of clients,
which
and
is
then
great.
They all went to hell.
Oh, no.
And I was sort of like,
yeah,
I was
just
not
threw them out
expecting
the
that.
window. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but no.
We do not endorse defenestration on.
Okay.
Right. Sorry.
Okay. No, but in the past few weeks, I've taken positive steps, and things have gotten better, both me and the person and people I care about, and so So, and I like where I am. I like where, you know, the community I'm in. I like the church I'm in. I like the people there. I like my family, you know, and I like where I am. I don't see a real need to change it right now, you know. I mean,
I'm not.
and I still have thoughts in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I still have thoughts in my mind and everything. And I think about these things all the time. But I guess, you know, taking positive action right now to change things, don't really want to. I just don't.
So, to be clear,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. When you say taking positive action to change things, do you mean changing how you engage with the community and the people around you?
I mean, taking positive action to say that, you know, I'm really not sure if there's a God. The people I care about, my parents, you know, my pastor, my everything. I don't really want to do that. I can have these thoughts in my head and I can think about it.
Yeah.
But especially my parents, you know, I don't. Everyone's parents are different, and my parents are wonderful people, awesome. I mean, great. But I don't have that much more time with them, and I don't think they need to know this.
I think that's very fair. When you say, I don't think they need to know this, do you mean that they don't need to know that this is something you think about?
Yes, I don't want to have this conversation with them because I know that if I brought this up, then it would be like a 6-hour thing on the phone or in person or whatever, you know?
Yeah. So
and
I'm not sure if how much of, you know, ACA shows you've seen in the past or past conversations that have happened on this show, but if you were to come to the conclusion that you don't believe in a God and you were willing to call yourself an atheist, the question of whether or not you have a conversation about that with your parents or your friends or your family or your pastor is a very personal choice and not one that I would push you on one way or another. I certainly would give the best advice that I could, but I would never say, oh, allow me to make that decision for you. And I would certainly never say, well, the moment that you realize you don't believe, you need to shout it from the rooftops and tell everyone you know and have it be the centerpiece of your life is what you think about, you know, religious institutions or whatever. I would just say, I think that if you engage in critical thinking and examine what you believe and why, and come to the conclusion or are on the verge of coming to a conclusion that you don't have sufficient reason to believe in a God, that you as a thinking human being, as an individual, should be free to come to that conclusion and not feel like there's something that you can't think about.
Well, let me tell you, I've gone back and forth for a while, and I guess this will be my last point, because I guess, I know you have a lot of callers. Give me one more thing.
Keep trying to get off the hook.
No, I'm not trying to get off the hook. I'm just trying to be polite, you know. No, I was actually an atheist for a while. I didn't tell anyone. You know, I still went to church on Christmas with my family and everything, but I didn't believe. And the reason I did is because my family had joined this church where basically it was the 6,000 years of creation and everything. And then I went to college, and I realized that's just BS. That's not true. That's just not true. You know. But the way I was brought up to believe is that, and again, my parents are wonderful people. They were just trying to do what was right. Okay. But I was brought to believe that if you don't believe this, then, you're not a true Christian. So I guess I'm not a true Christian. So I've got, and then I do a lot of research like on my free time. And I started reading some of the works of St. Augustine of Hippo. And one thing that he said that really stuck with me is that, and he lived in like 600 AD or something like that in Tunisia. And he said, it's very obvious that pagans, which is what they call non-believers. Understand how the earth works, how the rotation of the earth, the sun moves around the stars. And it's terrible when believers talk nonsense about these subjects. And we should be very careful to correct them when they do, because all that's going to do is make the pagans laugh believers to scorn. And I thought, okay, I can believe all these things. It's possible to, take faith and science together. I mean, faith is the reason for why, science is the reason for how. And that's just something I'm going through right now, and Agree or disagree? I don't know. That's just what I'm
hold
thinking.
on one
But that's
second.
kind of what he was saying.
Hold on one second, Nick. You were
I just wanted to ask, Nick, when you say you're in college and you came to this conclusion of, well, this is not true, I was just wondering what led you to that realization, and also what are the things that you felt wasn't true? Was it a God? Was it, like specific beliefs related to, the religion that you were brought up with?
I guess just going more into science classes and, doing learning about critical thinking and philosophy and seeing, how being exposed to a lot more things than I was before.
Yeah. And do you remember specifically which ideas sort of, which concepts? I went through something similar in biology class. Yeah. Do you remember, was it thinking, the Bible's not true, or, you said specifically?
I think it was thinking that I was always taught that the Bible is the completely inspired word of God, word for word. And then, I realized that, first of all, that's circular logic, because it says it is. It is because it says it is, basically. That's the argument.
Yeah.
And also, though, that first of all, I realized there's two creation stories, Genesis 1, Genesis 2. Those are two completely different creation stories.
Yeah, that'll...
If it's the exact word of God and entirely true, that can't be right,
Yeah.
Then I learned more about biology, learned more about cosmology, learned more about science, and it just that's what got that.
Yeah.
Got me there, basically.
And you're still in that place regarding the Bible.
Well, no, and this is something St. Augustine said too, that he didn't look at Genesis 1 and 2 as a science textbook or anything.
Yeah, it's literal.
He wrote that it was a logical framework, basically. It wasn't exactly what happened. So maybe that's a cop out for me. I don't know, but a guy in 600 AD writing that. Right or wrong, he was a pretty smart guy. So
yeah, there's a lot of smart people.
Yeah. And I know that, one saying that Michael Shermer says, smart people are very good at convincing themselves that they're right. When
yes.
They know they should be wrong.
It's the intelligence trap.
Yeah. And maybe I'm not saying I'm a particularly smart guy, but maybe I'm falling into that trap. I don't know. But like
smart.
I said, I'm just going through thoughts, going through things, and I'm just not ready to pull the trigger yet. And there is no God.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm glad that you've got, shows to listen to and keep thinking about.
So I'll say a couple things right before we hop off. One, are you open to learning more about skepticism, specifically?
Absolutely. I consider myself a skeptic, believe it or not. I have a, yeah.
So
if someone starts a sentence saying no one will ever convince me, I stop listening.
Yeah.
Because that's not skepticism.
Because that sentence will never persuade you? No.
No. Well, no, because that means that their mind is completely closed.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I will say is I hope that you'll call back. Can I, maybe not next week, but the week after? Can we keep having these conversations? Because I think we're getting to an interesting place, and I think people...
Absolutely. Well, it's my dad's birthday in 2 weeks, so probably not.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Maybe
next week.
Maybe a week after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or if you want me to call next week, I can. But I don't know how much will change.
When you don't have to call me every day. Call me when you've got something to say.
Okay.
As I've said that, as an ex of mine said. But yeah, so we'll hop off. I hope that you stay in touch. I don't know whether you're on any of the sort of groups where, fans of the show and members of the community chat about these things. You can find them on Reddit, r/talk Heathen, and then we have the ACA Productions private group. There's actually the Atheist Experience official discussion group on Facebook is also pretty good. So I would encourage you to engage there and to call back and keep reading.
Thanks, Nick.